I've just got the this 70 series steel dash version here. So these are from quite earlier on to 2009. They changed to the different style dash. So we'll just cover this install today. So this size here, you can see it's got like an aftermarket unit already in it, a Kenwood one. It's a standard size. So we have a couple options like for this. You can put a double DIN unit in like this, so that gives you about a 7-inch screen, like sort of sits in like flash with the dash. You can put our big sort of like 10.5-inch screen that sort of sticks out a bit. That's a single DIN, and you can put like a spacer below that we include where you can put your CV radio or just like storage. So that gives you like a big screen. Those are like basically your like two options. Or the other option we do have is just like a single fold out a screen that tucks back in when the car's on. So today we're just going to put like a double DIN one in, but there is a couple of options for this model. There isn't too much going on here, obviously. No steering wheel controls. This one has some aftermarket speakers and door things on, so that's pretty handy. Otherwise, if you don't have those, you have these sort of standard sort of 4-inch speakers in here, which are pretty hopeless, and I think they actually are quite hard to change. At least one side's hard to change. We've just got seat screws around here that's holding this front piece of the fascia in. These will all come out. There's 6 of them, and that just pulls out like that, so fairly straightforward. And then you've got brackets in the side here, so you can see 4 screws that just need to come out, and the whole unit will pull out. And there you go, that is a unit out. But they're going to be the same on all the different models, obviously. Quite a lot of these are going to have aftermarket units in there now because they've been around for a while. So what we'll do is we'll just unplug all this. Now if you have an aftermarket unit, it could be handy if you send us the plugs, if you sort of pull it out like this far and like send us the plugs you have, because we actually might be able to sort of match up like the plug for you, like a Kenwood adapter to our adapter or whatnot. That'll save you some troubles, because sometimes in these older ones haven't kept the original plugs, they've actually like soldered it, which can take you a bit of time, but we can get you adapter to that Kenwood plug, which does make it quite easy. So we've taken off the old plug here and we've put on sort of our plug. We've just hardwired this in, but if you let us know, for example, here was the old plug here, so this is a 22-pin Kenwood plug. We have like some of these in stock, so if like you say, hey, I have a 22-pin like Kenwood or like a 16-pin like Sony, we can give you the adapter, so it'll like plug into here and then like plug into our head unit. Now that's going to save you chopping or having like a joint or solder or anything, so that'll save you a bit of time. So let us know. You can even just get another model of head unit, and we should be able to work out what plug it has on it. But anyway, that's hooked in. There's a few main cables. There's a constant, which there's like the yellow, there's a earth, there's a blue, which will be antenna amp, there's a blue like white, which will be your remote turn on for your amp. This guy's an amp. There's orange and black, which is reverse in trigger, and there is a red, which is ACC, and like an orange, which just tells you when your lights are on in your car. Now, because it's already had one in there, it was just the matter of like matching those wires up. There's speaker wires here that aren't being used because obviously this system is running an amp, so the RCAs are here. This little plug here is our like pre-outs that'll go in the back of our head unit. We will have to add in here, a lot of systems run a dual RCA for a subwoofer, and we only have like a single output here, so you just need to use the dual RCA to single RCA, and that'll cover that problem. If you did have all the speakers as well, then these are your extra wires here. This one already had a reverse camera in it, so we could just tap into that, and then this little sort of wire that comes off the side here is a trigger wire. So that is basically all those, and then these were the other cables coming out of the our current head unit. So you had 2 USBs, so you can reuse these if you want to, because USBs haven't changed over time. They're just like 4 pins. These are still the same. This is like an AV out, so this could have been maybe to plug like an RCA in like somewhere. It's a bit dated now, you probably won't use it anymore. Then they had over here, they had a DAB antenna, a GPS, and a microphone. So the DAB antenna, you could use the same one if the plug match, but like it doesn't, so you have to run like a new one. External mic, you can plug that into our one, just test how it sounds. If it's okay, use it. If not, use our mic. The GPS you can't use because the plugs don't match up, and I wouldn't suggest using anyway, because this technology has come a long way in the last few years, so you'd probably want to use a different one. And this here is just the FM AM radio, so it's just going to plug straight into our unit, and that basically covers all your wires there. Now off the back of the old unit, I've just like taken the two sided like brackets off. They fit our unit fine, and I've just used the screws. They've got locating tabs on them, you can see there and there, so they will go on, and you can just use those again, which make it very easy. If not, our kit comes with some, and you can like use the ones that are in our kit. Now we're just going to make sure it all powers on and everything works okay. So here's the old GPS. If you'd like this like the factory unit, you wouldn't have this, but you can pull that one out, get rid of it. Now these need a clear view of the sky with no metal in between. Then obviously metal dash model. So this does have to sit up here. So you can just sit it up here on the passenger side somewhere. You can just sort of like stick it down here. That's a magnet backing one. The ones that the kit's having them now should be like a 3M stick pad, but the same. Just so I put it here. I've pulled out a tiny bit of trim there that says one screw on it. I run this down under here and I pop the cable up behind the head unit. So this comes down here, up under behind this black bit. I use a screwdriver, bit of like sort of tape on it or whatever. You'll be able to get it into here where this cigarette one is, or like a coat hanger, and I just like fed it all the way up to here, and it is now out the top here behind the head. So that is the GPS. Now the only other few things we need is we've got our like sort of Wi-Fi antenna. This is our like X series, the M series. Everything is the same. It's just the like GPS plug on the back is a bit different, and like this is actually just like a 4G antenna. I'll explain the quick differences in a bit between the two, but the process is almost the same. So this here is going to stick somewhere. Again, steel dash, so ideally run it up and like over. Now you can probably see a light coming through the back here when I push that down, so we can actually feed that through there and just have it coming straight through. Now you could have actually done that for the GPS as well, I just didn't realise that there, but you can actually, there's a little gap there, you can probably actually get a wire through there. Straightforward, you can see that's just sort of popped out here and it's stuck down here. On our M series, that'll be the 4G antenna. So again, it kind of needs to be above this metal dash here on this model. That's that. Now we've got this cable here, two USBs coming off it. We're going to tuck those into the glove box and external mic. So you can, what we normally suggest doing is plug the external mic in, make a call with it, unplug it and make a call before you put everything back in, and you can tell what one you prefer, because sometimes the difference is not huge. We'll try and use the one they already have mounted for this car, and we'll check that out, but we'll test it before I put it in. Two USBs, so pretty straightforward. You can run these wherever you want really. So we're going to tuck them through here. That's our Wi-Fi. Tuck them through here. So you can probably see now, and then there's a bit of plastic here that you can just wedge out of the way and put them through. Now depending on like sort of our models, you could be using these to whatever, charge your phone, or you could be running our dash cams or TPMS off. So like sometimes it could be just going in behind there, you don't actually need to have them. In this case though, they are in the glove box. The other option could be to actually, you might be able to get one into the back of the ashtray there maybe. There's an option, yeah, that is another option, but yeah, and they have a little slot down here where it kind of sits out quite tidily, so we'll tape these up and just have them in here. Two USBs. A third USB here too, so again you can either like run that into a glove box or just leave it behind the head unit. Again, handy if you're going to run out like dash cam or TPMS or something like that. It's always better to have it somewhere you can like access without taking the whole head unit out, so you could just like drop it down the bottom or like somewhere where you can get to it. So that third USB, I actually just, if you can see, it's pretty dark in here. I actually just jammed it in here. You can push down the plastic and it sits in there quite like nicely, so they'll give you like a little USB port you can access quite easy from there. So that's it, that's pretty much everything. External mic you would run probably down the bottom and up the door pillar there, and kind of put it in the corner. We can sort of bring it across to here or there. So obviously think about it like when you're speaking, how close it'll be to your mouth. So obviously up here at the edge of the sun visor or there is best. And just make a test call before you put everything back in. Now I'll just go through and put all the plugs in, check it all out, make sure it's working is always a good test to do. So this plug here is our pre-outs. A lot of people aren't going to have it. I'm running like a sort of an aftermarket amplifier or not. Then we have our reverse camera in, that goes in there. I call these our auxiliary plugs. This is our main like 20 pin plugs, like Wi-Fi. That was our sort of Wi-Fi one here, which would go to there, and our GPS was also hanging down somewhere. Here it is here. We'll tidy that up a bit once we've done that too, so it doesn't need to be so long. 20 pin plug, USB plugs. Then once you've tested it, I'll power it on. Obviously I'll make sure your reverse camera's working, whatnot. I'll give you a little explanation after this about the reverse cam, because we're not actually putting it in this car because this car already had one in it, which is handy. You could actually just change the end of it if it was a car one. I'll tell you why we're not on this car, because it's a bit of a different shape one. But that's basically it. So turn it on. The first time it boots up, it's going to take a little bit of time. Now, no matter which one you use here, all this is going to be the same. There's obviously no steering wheel controls on this car, so the options to get are like those we do have stick-on ones, because obviously you have no volume knobs on here. Or you can use, if you use the big version, it actually has a knob underneath it if you use the big sort of sticky outlet version. Or we have the steering wheel controls, all sort of change the wheel, which we will have some wheels coming out soon. So that's cool. Something's going on there. That antenna wasn't in, so that's why I'm not getting your radio, but make sure you put that in. We got sound coming in, so that's what we wanted, so that's pretty good. That is basically everything. Check that your reverse camera works. That's obviously working there. Cool. Happy days. We can put it all back in now. Now I've just put these in for this customer, because these cars don't have any steering wheel controls, but do have quite a good spot to put this. Like, you can choose where you put these obviously, but that doesn't look terrible there. And there's no airbag. That's clear, the airbag cover and everything. So just put that in, and this works by, so is CarPlay working? Coming into here, finding wheel key study, press a key, so I'll press like volume up, and I learn volume up to volume up, and you can even have like a long press if you want as well. We don't really need a long press as well, so I'm not too bothered about that, but obviously skip and the volume are the main things you do with your steering wheel control. And it's also pretty handy to have a home button. You can actually learn these for let's open like apps and different stuff as well. So that's all fairly handy to have. And save and exit. So now if you see I push this here, our volume's going up on the head unit. So you've got steering wheel controls now. Super handy. It just like wires into here. So the receiver for it is just down here. Sorry, just sit right somewhere. Just here, and you've got wires. You've got like ACC. You put the red into ACC, yellow and grey go into our key 1 and key 2 wires, which are brown ones. They're sort of normally labelled, and the black ground will go into our ground, which is like an extra ground. It's like a key ground, which is actually labelled as well here. So that's how you hook like that up, and that just tucks behind there. Right, so we've taped everything up now. You can get as carried away as you want with the tape or not, or like whatnot. There is a bit of space to fit things in the back here, so if you start from like one side, you go through, make sure you plug everything in. GPS. That was the Wi-Fi one. GPS is this one. No, it's just good starting from one side and working your way all the way back, because then normally you don't forget anything. It still happens though, because there is a few plugs going on here. But just as you put everything in, just double check you're not leaving anything out. Wi-Fi. Let's go through. USBs and microphone. Third USB. FM AM antenna. I think that's everything. Always just do a double check, and that's all. And just slowly tuck everything back in. Should all just sort of drop behind and sit down anyway as you put it in. And then you just make sure your screws are going to line up okay, and they look pretty good, so we'll put those screws back in. Now what I'll probably do here is I'll just put in one, and then it's always good to do a check just to make sure everything's still going to power back up, because otherwise you put everything back in and you realise you haven't put a cable in or you forgot something. So always recommend doing that. So then just put your power back on. It should quit boot normally, it's just because we keep on taking the power off it. So if we hadn't taken off the power off it, it would be quick booting. So that's good. So obviously check all your things, reverse camera, check, make sure you're picking up radio stations, sound. If you did put in these, you can check these are working. So all good, happy. The other thing you can actually check in here to make sure, we're in a tin shed here, so it might not be the best, but you can check your GPS is working all okay. Not too sure how good this will be working. No, it still works in tin shed okay, so all happy. Then obviously fascia goes back on, and you're all set up ready to go. We've got like two options for the older 70 series here, so we've got like one that sits in like this. The one we'll have like a picture of it slightly different now. It sits in the factory fascia here, and you have a volume knob here. Screen's about like this size. All specs etc the same on both units. The wireless CarPlay, run Android, the wireless Android Auto, blah blah blah. But the one obviously sits sort of flush in here, and the other one I'll show you in a second is our 10.1 inch that sits out a bit further. Yeah, and you can just choose. And obviously this one sits in flush, so it looks like that.